everyone, it's your girl Luna here. So today's video, I'll be talking about color. In the previous video, I did talk about color, but it was mainly about the RGB color set, where in normal art, you will learn that the primary colors are yellow, red, and blue. But in coding, it's it's red, green, and blue. But in today's video, I'll be showing you the section on the reference table that under environment. Under environment, if you go to colors, well, next to environment, you go to colors, and you see these are all the topics, or not topic, codes under the color column. So the first one is alpha. So the description, it says extract the alpha transparency value from the p5.color object array of color components, or CSS color streams. So this is the example they show. So if you want to do this, or you want to like create a different set of colors, well, the description part we don't need, so I'll just take this part. So it shows here, but if you say you want a different color, because the two colors are split in half. Because if you look, it says, for the description, it says one is light blue, the other one is charcoal gray. Using the RGB color code chart, we can actually find the direct color. So it says light blue, which is this, and it says charcoal grays, which here it doesn't have it, but let's see what happens if we decide to change certain colors within this. So let's say instead of blue, I choose green, and I want a spring green. So 255 and 127. Let's see what happens if I did this. See if anything changes. And it does, which is kind of interesting. Let me see if I can. Let me just add a 1 to each of them to see if it brings more to the center. We'll move the green. So there we go. Now I should move it back in place. So you can see if you change the top part, it will change the one on the left. To change the bottom, if you deleted the concept part and then change the fill part to whatever color you want from here, or you just know the the 3 coordinates for it, then you can change it to like something like this. So you can, as long as you remember to change this far for the one on the left and the one on the right to change it here, then you're good. So that's the alpha one. Next is blue, which is kind of funny since blue is specifically a color, but the description is the same as the alpha. Extract the blue value from the P5. So when they say extract the blue values, similar to the from Earth science, like the visible light, blue is a much stronger wavelength compared to red. So in this case, it's like extracting the blue one. It's like basically it's like removing it, or not removing it, but like adding it. So for this example, the same setup, but it says the blue value specifically. Then describing two rectangles. The left one is a light purple, and the right one is a royal blue. So if you know any color that has more blue focus, or blue is mixed into it, then just like the alpha one, so whoops, I don't need the description actually. So if you want to stay in true to this, you can use this as a way to like, oh, which colors are where blue is mixed in or has a more higher concentration in a sense, which kind of goes in order almost between the arches, like red is first, then green, and then blue. So let's try Dodger Blue. Never heard of that one to be honest. So for this one, so I'm just changing this part. Which does change that one. And I'm curious, is what happened if you change like 2 zeros? So let's choose like, which of these have like more blue focus? The light steel blue. So if you just change, I'm a little curious on what happened if you just change the the zeros right here. What will happen, if anything? Will happen either an error or the color will change. So 176 and 196. Oh, it actually does. Okay. So, which actually makes sense actually, since it's focusing on the blue color wheel in the RGB. So as long as you know the other two, the red and the green numbers, the blue will correspond to it. So that's pretty much what this one does. It's like generated, so you don't need to type in all three. If you know at least the red and the green, the blue will go along with it. So the next one is brightness. So this one is that extract the HSB brightness value from a p5.color object array of color component, where it's pretty much the same as the alpha and the blue value. It says two rectangles and the left one is same and the other. So this is an interesting one. Let me just make sure I move the rectangle by 100 so to be big. Let me change the background to more like gray or silver actually. Or did I turn that purple? Oh, I think I know why. Because certain colors are mixing in with this. Anyway, so just like the previous one, if you have a specific color you want one side to be, you can go through here, or again, if you know it, you can type it in. I'm leaving this part alone. I'm curious on what will happen if you choose a darker color. Let's go a little more down. Let's say saddle brown. See if I don't think anything will change on the right, but you never know. Oh, it just turned everything completely black, completely the opposite color. I was just mixing with brown. Ah, that's interesting. So let's see if we went to, like, why haven't we just went straight white? Mmm, interesting. One color becomes red, the one on the left, and the other one is white. This is very interesting. So I guess it, like, if one side is bright, the other one will be slightly darker. But it's interesting the side of brown didn't do that. Let's see what happens if we choose like chocolate. Will it go completely black like the shadow brown did, or something else? Oh, I see the slight difference there. It wasn't completely black, but the one on the left is black. The other one is like a very dark gray. Looks like it. That's very interesting. So that's pretty much how the brightness one works. Because it's pretty much it's split to two values. One would be darker than the other. After brightness, there's one called color. The description says create a p5.color object. By default, the parameters are interpreted as the RGB value, calling colors 255, 204, and 0 return a bright yellow color. So in this case, it's pretty much describing how the color system works in a sense. The first coordinate would be like your X, which would be red, your Y would be a green, and your Z would be a blue. So for this one I don't need to show because I gave more of a description on it when I was explaining to this. But if you but you can do some really cool like look like shading effects almost. Yeah. So gray. So this one I already have shown before in my previous video, like talking when I first talked about colors. After color, there's another one in green. So similar to the one that was called blue, is mainly green focus. So if you know the red numbers and the coordinates for the blue, the green one will like pretty much correspond. Like if you want a specific color, if you just know only the red and blue, the green will be just be built in. So since I already done this with blue, this one don't need to be shown. This one is saying is called hues. It's going to extract the hue value of the object. So hue exists in both the HSB and the HSL. It describes a color position on the color wheel. By default, this function results the HSL normalized hue if the color module is set to HSB and return normalized hue. So for this one, it looks like it's similar to the other one. So it's kind of hard to tell the difference, if there is any difference besides the naming. Well, there is a difference, but it's kind of hard to tell. So let me delete this. Let's see. Let's see what happens if I pick a color. Like, let's do crimson. This color. So if I replace this side, interesting. Does not look like the color I chose. Let's see. Let's go down. Let's see what happens if I just pick line. Very interesting. Because I'm not really changing anything else besides the color, and it's giving me different results. If I chose a much lighter color, like ivory, which is like almost like a cream color, will the same thing happen, or I get something completely different? Okay, this one gives me my red. Very interesting. If I chose completely black, because you're supposed to see a split like this with all of them, but certain combinations are not working. So if I chose this one is completely black. So this one's quite interesting. In this example, it shows a complete split in like colors and also I guess vibrancy. So after hues is LEP color. For this one, it says blend two colors to find a third color between them. The AMT parameters specify the amount to interloop between the two values. 0 is equal to the first color, 0.1 very near to the first color, 0.5 is halfway between the second color, and so on. Negatives are set to 0, numbers greater than 1 are set to 1. The difference from the behavior of LEP is necessary because numbers outside of the interval produce strange and unexpected colors. It's basically like if you're looking at like paint for your walls, they show you like a gradation or color variance of a specific color you want, but in different varieties. And like you slowly get into the one you want. That's basically what that looks like. What this is. So so let me color from here. So let's try a different set of numbers to see what will happen. So let's do let's do one of them to be blue. And the other one red to see what kind of effect it will show. This is very interesting. So it goes from left to right, blue, purple. This might have been, I don't, magenta maybe? This might be magenta, and then fully red, which does make sense. So from left to right, you start as blue. There's no red in sight. Then you go on to purple, still more blue, but there's some red. Going away from the blue, you're getting more into the red, and then boom, you're finally fully in the red. So if you want to add like say more rectangles to see if there anything else can be like, it might be more of a more of a change. So let's see what happens. Oh, so if I say let's do yellow, oh no, let's do gold to rosy brown. Now that's gonna be interesting. So gold is here. And then rosy brown. So from gold look like maybe like dirty blonde, not dirty blonde, like a slightly dimmer gold, more infused with this rosy brown and then brown, which is very interesting. So that's the lip color. Then lightness. Lightness and brightness is look to be the same. It said extract the HY a lightness value from the predefined color object array of color components. So the same thing, it's just a different name for it, which is because it says the rectangle on the left is light green, the other one on the right is gray. So there's no difference between that and the brightness one. This one, similar to the blue and green, this one's leaning more to red. So it's if you know the blue's coordinate number and the green one, You just need to type in red value and it will fill in for you by itself. So there's no need to type it in. This one is called saturation. So the description, it says extract the saturation value from p5.color object, an array of color components or color or CSS color string. Saturation scale differently in HSB and HSL. By default, this function results. So similar to not saturation. I would say to repeat it. To hues, it doesn't look there's any changes to anything because it looks like the same as the previous examples. I guess given a different name. And then the last one, it says p5.color. I think this one's just a description one, where it says the color describe a class describe a color in each p5.color object stores the color mod and level max there where affected during construction. These values are used to interpret the argument passed to the object constructor. They are also determined the output formatting, such as when saturation is called. Colors is stored internally as an array. In ideal, the RGBA value in floating points form, normalized from 0 to 1. These values are used to calculate the closest screen color, which are RGBA level from 0 to 255. Screen colors are sent to renderer. When the difference color represented are calculated, the results of each for performance. These values are normalized floating points. The color function is the recommended way to create an instance of this class. An explanation on what the p5 color is and like the use of it. And like the type of method that are used to strings, set red, set green. So the stuff we already talked about before. And that was the last one. So if you guys like today's video and the talks of colors, please like and comment. If you guys want me to do another section of it, please let me know in the comments. Until next time, bye everyone.